So welcome to our weekly 8FM book club. It's on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. So thank you for being on live, Avia, Terry, and Leslie. Thanks for being here. We may have more people popping on. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching. We are starting a new book this week, so it's super exciting. We really dove into influence. It was awesome. You can catch the replays. But we're actually starting The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson this week. So we're just going to be talking about chapter 1 today, The Beach Bum and the Millionaire. And I thought it was a really interesting story. So, totally different book, definitely more personal, kind of more about personal development and growth and things to focus on. And I've read this before, but definitely good to read it again and to kind of have these reminders. And there's different books out there, right? And I'll just reference a few that, it's very different kind of mentality, like 10X and like all of these books, right? Where it's like all about a lot of hustle, a lot of, and it is, whatever it is you do, whatever goals you want to achieve, whether it's in business or health or in relationships or anything in our lives, we have to put forth effort, right? We have to put forth action, right? But the way Jeff Olson approaches things is very different. It's very, it's about disciplined, small daily actions, right? And really is about how it's easy to do those things, and it's also easy not to do those things. And I know I've been guilty of not doing certain things. And what I found most interesting, this like success kind of, he has like a little graph, right, where people go from, I don't know what page it was on, but like from failure to like, not success, but what was it he called it? Sorry, one sec. Let me just find it. Failure to survival to success, right? So most people kind of go between failure and survival constantly. And it's like this up and down. And I know I've experienced it, right? And he says the only thing that stops people from going from that survival to success is just continuing those actions, right? And I know yes, exactly that one, exactly what Terry is showing there. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see on the replay. But Terry, if you want to come out and just kind of show it, because I think it switches between screens.
Yeah, Terry, talk about it.
All right, I've got small children here as well, but this one on this side, I don't know if it's back to front for you, but it's showing how you go from failure, survival, success, and we take, what we do when we're in this place to kind of get our sort of sense of our head above the water. We're just, we take certain actions and then we generally stop whatever we were doing once we sort of feel like we're getting a breather, and we end up kind of cruising back down here and then taking the actions again. And he's just saying, if you just, instead of doing that, you just keep doing the actions that got you to here will take you to success. It's just about keeping on going. Yeah, I thought that was a real light bulb, that graph for me. I loved it. Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. For sure. I mean, I do it. I do it all the time. It's like in every aspect of my life, just looking back, right? And it's sometimes a hard thing to admit, to look in the mirror and say, why don't I just keep doing those things, right? Because for whatever reason, I don't know for everyone else, but for myself, like there's this rationalization that starts, or even convincing myself that when I'm at a certain level, that the things that I have to do daily are different, and convincing myself in some way that maybe reaching a new level, the actions have to change. And so I think I go into kind of like experimentation. Whereas if I just did the other stuff that got me there and I just continued doing that, it would kind of like, there would be no question. It would just be a matter of doing it, like the small daily disciplines that he talks about. So whoever wants to pop out, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I just loved it. I had such a sense of relief, because I often also sort of, start thinking, I've got to do something different. Like I get to a certain point and then I'm like, right, must be time to do something different to get to the next level. And it's like, it was this real, like how reassuring he was. It's like we all know we're already doing, and we all know what we need to do to go from that sense of kind of just it really not happening to kind of having our head above water. And all we need to do is just keep going with that. Like, there's just this real, not pressure off, because it's like, no, you got to keep going with the actual daily things that do make a difference. But in terms of trying to reinvent or work out some whole different thing. All right, there's literally spilt milk happening here at my place. I'm gonna go help the kids. But yeah, I just love that. I had this whole sense in the body of actually going, I actually don't have to. I already absolutely know. It's just about keeping on going. Yeah. All right, I'll go help with this kid. Give me a second.
Thank you, Terry.
Well, I think it's funny. She just talked about milk, right? Did you guys read the foreword? I think it's in the foreword, the frog story.
Oh, yes.
Where they jump into the cream, right? And if you can get over the one frog died, the frog is just in the cream and he's spinning and spinning and spinning, and suddenly he turns it into butter and can then get out of the jug, right? And so that, to me, was a great visualization. If I just keep going, if I just keep going, keep doing the same things I know how to do, I'll be able to get out of it eventually. I'll be able to automate or systematize or whatever, but I do the same actions no matter how I do them. I think that's kind of what you said a little bit ago, Kat. The actions aren't different. Success is success, and it's the small daily actions that you do every day that seem to matter. So I really liked the frog story. That was kind of fun for me.
Yeah, me too. And what I liked about this chapter, I have to translate because I think in Dutch, but I can work it out. We have to do little things every day. And we have the daily shortcut now. I think that's very valuable, and that keeps me going to do that every day. So that's and also the 8 core commitments from Empower, also daily things you have to do. And keep going. But there are some days when I don't feel, I don't see the results yet. So I think, okay, I want to quit or something. But when you read this, you know you have to keep going. So that helps me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, and welcome, Damon, also popped on. I was just gonna say something. Yeah, I mean, with the 8 core commitments, it's so easy. I mean, they're not hard to do,
No.
right? But it's easy not to do them, right? Pop in an audio or open a book, right? Or do a post or a blog post or whatever it may be. But I know too. I mean, one thing for me as well is that, and I admitted this to myself a long time ago, but I also like change. And so, when I get into kind of a way of doing things or a habit, I get to this point where I feel like I want to change something. It's exciting, right? And I know that, this is probably one of those struggles a lot of people have, with attention, right? Where it's kind of almost boring to do the same thing over and over and over again. It's more exciting if you see something over here or see something over there that someone else is doing and kind of be like, oh, that looks really fun, right? Really exciting. Let me, test the waters over there and try this other habit or this success habit or this strategy or whatever it may be. And I know I've gone down that path many, many times where I just, see something else, right? We hear this too with, even with companies, right? Shiny ball, right? It's just more exciting. I mean, it's exciting to try new things because we have all these feelings around it. And I know too, a lot of the time, I might say I don't feel like doing something, right? But then if something exciting comes along, it's fun and I feel like doing it, right? But those feelings, we can get caught up in and they can rule us a little too much sometimes where, if I find myself saying too much, I really don't feel like doing this. I know I'm making excuses because whether I feel like it or not, if I want the results, I got to do it. Welcome on, Alicia. That's quite an entrance. I love it. Welcome on. I love that. We should all have like an entrance like that. Welcome. Thanks for coming on. So I know like this kind of book, with Jeff Olson, it's so simple. It's just like, it couldn't be simpler. It really couldn't be simpler. It couldn't be more down to earth and honest, right? There's no magical kind of thing out there. There's no, technique or anything like that. It's just really getting down to basics, right? Just small, daily, consistent actions that don't have to take long. Like that's probably the killer in this, right? When we actually get down to, if we've been in a rut or whatever it may be and not doing the action and maybe procrastinating or whatever it may be, when we actually finally start doing it, welcome on, Julianne. Thanks for being on. When we start doing it, it isn't hard, right? We just do it and all of a sudden it's done. And then it's like, well, what was all that fuss about? Right? But then it's just doing it every day, right? Doing it consistently. Yeah. And I know for me too, like I like charts and things and like crossing things off, whatever I can do to remind myself. I have notifications on my phone, on my computer, right? Whatever I need to do, accountability partners, right? Just to keep myself accountable to do those things, right? The fun stuff, the exciting things, learning new stuff, that's cool and I like it. But it's the daily actions, right? Like, a lot of us do Instagram for business. So posting on Instagram, it's not hard. Yeah. It takes 30 seconds to put a photo up, right? You could do how many accounts in 30 minutes, right? A lot, right? But it's also easy not to do that. So this is definitely going to be a kick butt kind of book, because I know I've been kind of, swaying between being consistent and not being consistent. And really it shows directly also in results, right? Things will kind of happen more quickly when I'm consistent, and then things will kind of be up and down, exactly like the graph, when I'm not. And it's not, you can't deny it, right? When you look at your own stuff, especially if you're tracking your stuff, I can't deny it, right? So whoever wants to pop out. Any thoughts?
Oh yeah, I want to hear from someone else as well, but I'll just jump in that I've so often gone, okay, things are working, and then a period of time happens and I'm like, things aren't working as well. I'm not, not seeing as many results in whatever area. And it's like classic when you just look back and say, what was I doing that I stopped doing? And it's like always like, oh, just stop doing the little things that were adding up to making it totally work. Yeah. All right, I'll pass it to someone else.
Well, and I think you're right in that when you track it, Kat, it can make the mundane more exciting. Because I remember the first thing that I ever learned in the beta to Project Titan, right? Will Woods taught us to be accountable and to fill out this accountability check sheet. That's the first time that I regularly posted to my Instagram. And my business blew up. It grew 768% in 2 weeks. Because I was spending a freaking hour a day doing my business, which is not a lot. Even when you're full-time, you got an hour a day to work, but I wasn't spending the hour doing these money-making activities before. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing everything but the things I should have been doing. When I focused on the things I should have been doing first and didn't go to bed till those 12 things were done, then my life changed. Seemingly overnight, within 2 weeks, I started going from 1 lead every couple days to 4 to 5 leads a day within 2 weeks, just from using Instagram. Fast, it's fast. And it's boring. Yes, I hate to spend an hour a day posting pictures. So I'll have to figure out how to automate that. But I know when I spend an hour a day posting pictures in the morning, I get a lot more leads than when I post pictures at night after I get home from work. I can see the difference because I'm tracking my results. If I post them at 6 in the morning, I get like twice as many leads as if I post them at 6 at night. So I just have to get up early in the morning and do it. So I thought that was kind of interesting that we track it too. If you track it, you can actually see how those small daily activities matter hugely.
Yeah, you could probably literally graph it after. Right. And I know for me too, because sometimes like we start to do something and I mean, you won't necessarily immediately see results, right? And that can kind of trip us up sometimes where we're like, is it working? But I know that looking back, whatever period of time that I had that I was very consistent, the time after that, in our business, the compound effect would go like crazy. And it wasn't immediate, but it would be kind of like the following kind of weeks or months. But then I would taper off in that consistent action. So it's kind of like vamping or ramping back up again, which is honestly, it's tiring. It's tiring to kind of be on this up and down in business or in whatever, right? I mean, I yo-yo dieted for years where I was always trying different things and doing different things, but I kind of knew what to do and I just wouldn't do it. And, and then I started to, and then I started seeing results and my life changed. And, one crazy thing that, this is just from my personal experience, but when we can get through, they say it takes like 21 days to form a habit. I think it actually, 21 days is how long it takes to kind of form, because we have like neural pathways in our brain where we kind of form new ways of thinking, but it takes 90 days for it to actually really like change us, where it actually is something that can be almost unconscious. The 21 days is kind of setting it more in stone where it becomes easier to start doing it regularly, right? You almost feel kind of not right when you stop doing it. It's like that kind of thing. And I know in my life, things that actually changed for me were when I could push past, that 21-day kind of time frame and be consistent and even push it more than that. And then what would happen though, like this crazy thing that would happen is that in the future, what used to take me a lot longer would now be a lot faster to get that result because of the progress I had made in that time where I was making it into a habit. I also learned a lot, and I learned a lot of things, learned shortcuts, because really, everyone has the same amount of time in the day. So how can one person create all these incredible, amazing results that, let's say, Dave would, right? But he has as much time as any of us. And so how can that happen? And I've seen that this compound effect and this kind of, it almost appears magical, right? But when you, like for me, when I push past these points where I'm no longer fighting certain habits or actions, and I kind of push past that point, we all kind of hit a wall, right? Right? That point of that wall, when you go past it, then all of a sudden so much changes, and then it becomes so much easier to do those things. Now it's like what used to take 30 minutes takes a minute. Right? And all of a sudden our stuff just works so much better, and it just compounds like that. Like, it's just this amazing thing. I mean, it's easy to believe that the universe is magical when you see these things kind of happen. And I think we've all experienced this where we've seen something where, because we're entrepreneurs, right? So we manage ourselves, right? We're our own boss. And knowing that and keeping ourselves kind of in line and experiencing these kinds of, I forget what there was like I think I read it somewhere. These points where it's like things get not stacking, but chunked, where things that, took so long take less time, and then compounding those things. Like, it's an incredible thing. And that's how millionaires are created, multimillionaires, billionaires, right? The amount that they do isn't necessarily more. It's just they're able to do more than we are but because they got to that point. So I know for me, this is a good kick in the butt. Influence was really good in that sense of applying kind of more, influence and things like that into our business. But this is actually to run our business so that it actually, we can know all of the things we want in the world, but if we don't apply it, it doesn't matter, right? We can know everything out there. And then exactly what Via was saying, we have the daily shortcut. We have so much at our disposal that's is easy to share. You know, going into Cloud to Cloud, sending an email is so easy. It's just, everything is loaded. Everything that you just, literally, it takes like a minute, like to log in, like open your computer and log in and click on some buttons, right? And these are all things that compound, right? So I know for me, I have created a chart for myself for October. And maybe this can be kind of partially this book club with Slight Edge. We can do almost like an accountability if we are week to week. You know, if we, I don't know how many weeks this will take with this book. We're going to condense some chapters, but, you know, it'll be a few weeks, definitely more than 3 weeks. So maybe we can all be accountable to doing those small daily actions week to week to week, and actually implementing the Slight Edge as we read it. Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah.
So I commit to that. I commit to, you know, I'm going to do my daily actions, and you guys are you're going to be accountable. I'm going to be accountable to you if I do my small daily actions, according to Jeff Olson. And if you're watching, get also comments. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, to you know, to identify what those daily actions are for different people. You know, I think that's just such a fascinating. I don't know if that's the space here, but you know, they're the kind of things that are it's so valuable to mastermind or bounce around. Okay, what are the core? You know, I mean, yes, the daily commitments. So we've kind of got them in a way, but narrowing it down as well. You know, just might be an interesting thing to share at some point in some place. What each of our daily, you know, our core 5 things we're definitely going to do each day that we consider are part of this kind of like relevant to this chapter. You know, what are those things that we do that make a difference in our business that we commit to keep on doing every day? Yeah.
So I mean, they might be like, we have our 8 core commitments and empower, but we might all have slightly different kind of really daily actions. But I think that everyone here knows what they need to do. Like, we can all look back in our own business and see what would compound and what would work well. And we can start there, I think. And even from, you know, starting from the 8 core commitments and then kind of expanding on that or being more specific about it in terms of each kind of thing. Because I know, looking at my business, I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. And I think we all kind of know what we need to do. And it's just sitting down and being honest about it and maybe writing it down. And kind of like Terry, or how Leslie was saying too, you know, actually doing it before going to bed. You know, I'll have days where I'm like, I'll just go to sleep. Right? It's easy to do that. But to actually, you know, check it off before bed, do it in the morning, and, you know, probably, because I know for me, if I do things in the morning, I feel far more accomplished and even will do more than I would normally if I do work at night, right? So I think mornings, and there's a really good book called Miracle Morning that actually is all about that. So maybe that can be on our future book list. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want, we can do like a check-in when we start, you know, the hangouts for the next few weeks with the Slight Edge. And if anyone feels comfortable, if you want to share what you're committing to, we can totally do that, right? Kind of as an opener. You don't have to though, just saying, and we'll just hold you to being honest. Okay, awesome, Julianne. Thanks for being on. Okay, fantastic. So Julianne is going to commit too. So any kind of closing thoughts on this chapter, or any thoughts on anything else here?
I just want to share one thing about core commitments and doing those daily actions. You know, we're all part of the 8FM team here. And one of the things that I know and learned from our leader, Lawrence Tam, is when we were in this Project Titan beta testing, he would go to bed and he'd get out of bed if he forgot to do things on his core checklists. right? So that compelled me to say, okay, get my butt out of bed. I forgot to do that one thing. Get out of bed. If that man making $2 million gets out of bed to go do it, it's worth me getting out of bed to go do it. And that was a great leadership lesson, I thought, from him.
I'll definitely have to remember that. Yeah. And I know Lawrence has always said kind of like it's the mundane stuff, right? It's like just the mundane, things that are kind of boring that you just got to keep doing, and things like tracking, all of this is tracking leads, tracking numbers, tracking, what followers on Instagram or whatever it is you want to track, right? But tracking definitely helps to focus. And also whenever I track, my results just grow bigger, faster, because my energy is focused, my attention is focused. So definitely recommend to do that. And yeah, so this is fantastic. I think for next week, if you are all cool with this, we'll do 2 chapters. We have the first ingredient and the choice. So it's about 40 pages. That's not too bad, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Because these are shorter chapters than an influence. And there's a lot. We're going to be on this for a few weeks, meaning that all of our businesses should be transformed by the end of reading this. Right? We should be in a vastly different place by the end of reading this book. So fantastic. So thank you everyone for being on. Appreciate you. If you're watching, post in the comments if you want to kind of take part of this accountability challenge and you want to commit to your daily actions. You are more than welcome to come on live with us. You don't have to come out on the Hangout if you don't want to talk, but you can sit in with us and ask questions, things like that. And everyone is welcome. So see you all next week on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And have an awesome rest of the week. Bye.
Thanks, Kat.
See ya.